that you have people out of the country who cannot come home. They cannot come, they're stateless.
Finally, the Express is being fair and printing the truth.
We should be having trials, starting and finishing in 120 days.
What have you done to protect women and girls?
It must tell us that something is wrong.
This is Ali Baba and 40 thieves in charge of Trinidad and Tobago today.
Starting today, anyone over age 60 or under 60 with non-communicable diseases can walk into a COVID-19 vaccination center and get a shot.
The first thing I must do this morning is apologize to the nation for what has happened this morning. The Ministry of Health, of which I head, we underestimated the demand for vaccines, and we must sincerely apologize, and I as Minister sincerely apologize for this morning. But coming out of this apology, we must learn some lessons. And immediately this morning, we are going to institute the following measure to mitigate against this reoccurring from tomorrow. Surnames starting from A to E will get into our health centers.
Has the minister done any kind of due diligence to determine how many persons will fall under letters A to E?
You call people to come out and you have no vaccines. The elderly with sticks standing up 5 o'clock in the morning. And you calling them again. Tomorrow the same thing will happen.
A society is judged by the way it treats its most vulnerable. With just over 37,000 Sinopharm vaccines remaining, more elderly persons were turned away from health centers on day 2 of the walk-in vaccination drive.
Hundreds of elderly people and others with non-communicable diseases hurried angrily away from health centers on Thursday, disappointed to learn that only 50 people were being allowed to receive vaccines. Many told TTT News they waited on Wednesday for hours without receiving their vaccines, so they came out on Thursday only to be turned away again.
This is unfair. They don't organize. They say 60 and over, right? You have people out here who can't say stand up. Come on. You understand me? This is unfair to people. Why is they doing that?
I heard Mr. Dayal Singh said from A to E could get the vaccine today. I live at Champlain, so I came down this morning to get the vaccine, and I was told it was finished, and they can't tell me what to do after that.
I'm a diabetic, and I had operation and all kind of thing. So I don't really know where to do again or where to go anywhere again, right? I can't walk properly. I have a spine operation.
Many of the vaccine seekers were seen using walkers, canes, and being assisted by younger relatives to get to vaccination sites.
So they check about 40 people or 50 people, and they let them go in after they can't take no more. So it's the same scene right through. They need to come down here and they making no sense because this happening right through. You understand?
Well, needless to say, many persons with surnames beginning with A through E were unable to get vaccinated today. And so it remains to be seen whether persons with surnames F through G will be accommodated on Friday.
The Ministry of Health's attempt to better manage the volume of persons seeking vaccination by introducing an alphabetical system did not go over as expected, as hundreds of persons were still turned away today due to a limited amount of vaccines at the sites.
By the time I get it,
more shipments.
well,
So
okay, tell us that, but why lie to us and tell us come for it, and when you come, you can't get it.
Yeah.
Because you have enough.
Yeah, but you try.
I done all already. I 78 years. I'm dead anytime, so.
Despite requests made to the Health Ministry, TV6 has received no word on the arrival of the paid shipment of Sinopharm vaccines, despite assurances from the Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley on Saturday it is due to arrive today. According to data from the Health Ministry, of the 100,000 donation received on May 19th to be used exclusively as first doses, by Thursday 62,371 doses have been administered. This chart shows the daily uptake since the ministry started releasing detailed vaccination data on May 27th. On Wednesday, 5,689 Sinopharm vaccines were administered, but according to our count, only 3,600 went to walk-in facilities. On Thursday, 52,009 vaccines were administered, but only 1,800 went to the walk-in over 6-day cohort. Where are the remaining vaccines going? Well, one sector, the Supermarkets Association, over the past 3 days used about 3,000 of their allocated 5,000 vaccines, with 62,371 expended. That leaves 37,629 Sinopharm vaccines remaining. How will it be used? 2,000 more will have to be given to the supermarkets to complete their quota. TV6 has confirmed the Ministry of Health has committed 5,000 doses to the construction sector, 1,500 to hardwares, and an undisclosed number of doses to banking and finance workers, private security firms, and CPEP workers. At a pace of 50 vaccines per 36 health centers, that's 1,800 a day Monday to Friday, it will take 2 weeks for just about 20,000 doses to work into the over 60 population, which in TNT is estimated at 236,000 persons strong.
Yesterday we waited until they sent back home everybody. They took down names of the 60 plus and the comorbidity. This morning they're taking who they want instead of starting with those names that they took yesterday.
When you say they're taking who they want, did they come in the line and select certain persons?
They came and checked your ID, yes, but they should have used the list from yesterday to start off with.
People getting up.
I must really love all you. If you're hearing it, a little noise in the background, that is the French Open semi-final. Rafael Nadal versus Djokovic. And I am leaving here to go and produce the tape to start at 7:30 p.m. sharp, Douglas Politics. Am I really going to leave Djokovic versus Nadal? Oh, 0 to do Douglas Politics. Oh Lord, what's so important about Douglas Politics? Well, actually it is very important. Our country is in grave danger. Douglas Politics. My goodness, if you don't know that they're incompetent by now, after this evening's episode, you will be certain that the PNM Rowley Convent girl must go. Our country is suffering. Elderly, single mothers, women, daily workers, the entire small and micro enterprises industry, the energy sector, transport, maxi taxi, P driver, CPEP workers, URP workers, laborers, teachers, everyone is suffering under the PNM. Every single human being. So Novak Djokovic and Nadal, I will press pause and watch you later. Douglas Politics, 7:30 p.m. tonight.
This is Douglas Politics, yo. Douglas Politics. Listen, Douglas Politics, yeah. Douglas Politics. This is Douglas Politics, yeah. Douglas Politics. This is Douglas Politics. Douglas Politics. This is Douglas Politics, yo. Douglas Politics.
Good evening and welcome to Douglas Politics. Welcome, good evening. Share the live, share the live, share the live. All you're learning that we don't make joke. We start exactly on time. And let me tell you something, yes, don't fix your screen, don't check your color. This is Anil Roberts wearing a bright red shirt. A red shirt that is representative of our country. Some of all you're saying, and some of us believe, when I come in here with this shirt, Archie want to cuss, and he don't cuss, eh? Archie want to know what? I come in with red. If it's PNM and what, let me tell you all something. The PNM does not own this red. This red belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This belongs to each and every one of us born here. This is the color of our flag. This is who we are. The PNM has dragged the flag. They have walked and trodden all over it. And today on Douglas Politics, we reclaim the red of the red, white, and black Trinidad flag. Put it up. Show them that it's our flag. It's our country. All of us. And it does not belong to the PNM. It belongs to each and every one of us. They have embarrassed this flag across the board. Not only in COVID-19, not only in deaths, but with lies, with rushing and grabbing the treasury, sucking out the resources. Our sports, our football, our carnival, our beaches, who we are is nearly gone because of the PNM. Today, we take back our red, the red of our country, our flag, Trinidad and Tobago. They shall drag it no more. Let's go. Let me tell you something. Ladies and gentlemen, the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago before COVID was approximately $120 billion total that we produce in goods and services, public, private sector, add up all of that per year. Under Kamla Prasad in 2014-2015, this went up to a maximum, a high of $157 billion. But let's deal with after Rowley and then pre-COVID led us to shrink our economy, loss of jobs, loss of wages, close down in energy sector, poor negotiation. We were down to $120 billion. That's about $10 billion a month. In a total lockdown with SOE and curfew, with only those essential workers working and manufacturing working and energy sector producing, we would lose in a state of emergency like we have over the last 3 months, about 40% of the GDP for that month, which meant that total in Trinidad and Tobago, we would have lost approximately $4 billion, whether it's salaries, wages, people, production, sales, value of goods, services provided. We would have lost and given up and foregone that $4 billion in order to try to stave off the Brazilian variant of COVID-19 that came in through the porous borders that were left open by the People's National Movement and Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines and Smallpin. We would have given up $4 billion in order to suppress COVID-19, in order to stop people from dying. But ladies and gentlemen, in one fell swoop, even though we weren't really seeing much of an improvement anyway. The decision making of Keith Christopher Rowley, Convent Girl Dial Singh and the PNM, the total incompetence. They have ensured that that $4 billion sacrificed already will be for naught. Because by telling and advertising to the population, vaccinate to operate, first come, first serve, go and get vaccinated. And all across Trinidad and Tobago, citizens went out. And there was no separation. There were no processes in place, no drive-through vaccination, mass chaos, calamity, and a super spreader event like never before. So we can be certain that any possible gains from lockdown, shutdown, broke down, from curfew, from loss of wages, from loss of GDP is gone. No chance. By the 23rd of June, and press record, by the 23rd of June, we will see death like never before. We will see the parallel healthcare system overwhelmed to total, complete collapse. Are you saying, Anil, you're saying that you're wishing that? Of course not wishing. But science is science. 1 + 1 is 2. Half of 180,000 is 90,000. And call me, but can't do maths either. 2 + 2 is 4. COVID-19 infection, Brazilian variant infection rate, science, incubation period, 14 days, super spreader event, made and produced by the People's National Movement by Rowley and Convent Girl Dial Singh, will ensure that the $4 billion that we forego was equal to zero. That's like just putting $4 billion in a building, in a warehouse, stuck up with blue notes, and throwing kerosene and lighting a match and burn it up. That's how stupid the PNM is. That's how dumb they are. There's no other adjective to describe it. It is so foolhardy, so dotish, I cannot even contemplate up to now the scenes that I have seen over the last few days. A few miscellaneous items, as you could see while I wear the red of Trinidad and Tobago. There's the yellow of the UNC. Now you all understand that elections have consequences. You had a choice to make. You had 2 horses in the race. And one horse told you, vote for him because he's black. And those other Indian people are not black. They want to give black people banana. They want to call him black man. They want to vote race. They don't like you. They come in to take all your jobs. You knew it's not true, but you let the emotions go. And you believe that we're number 1 in the world. Number 1 in the world. And you dipped your finger. That's where we are now. But look what goes on. Share the live, please. On page 23 of the Express, just don't even come in, just worry. A little article, a little advertisement. Tender cancellation. PTSC. I say, but what is that? Public Service Transport Corporation announces the cancellation of the following tenders, which meant that the PTSC had advertised, they thought they saw a need for certain goods and services for PTSC, Public Service Transport, especially when the world is returning, the aggregate demand is turning, and fuel prices are going to go up, and many people are not going to be able to afford to drive their cars. So PTSC, the Public Service Transportation Group, the business, the company, the buses, would be overwhelmed with greater demand as people have to park up their cars because of the PNM taking away the gas subsidy totally, and now international oil prices are going up and we have no more protection. So those of you who are filling your car for $300, you're going to have to fill it for $600 very shortly. Many of you will not be able to afford to do that and buy food and pay rent and put your children in school. So the PTSC will become very important But the PNM, while knowing that, cancels tenders. So my spider senses go up. I say, but what is this? But remember, the PNM's philosophy is create an emergency, build the pressure on the citizens, so that when it comes to procurement, there is such a desperate need that the people don't mind how it reach. They just need help. A la ferries, a la sea bridge, a la vaccines, a la anything. That's the PNM modus operandi to drain the treasury and to just forego corporate governance and procurement. But here it is. Cancellation of tenders, PTSC. Provision of employee annual medical services to the public, them going and stop the medical services of the employees, labor unions, all you hearing that? Secondly, supply and delivery of tires and batteries to the public. Tires, greater demand, greater usage, greater driving, greater depreciation, need more tires, depreciation of batteries because you're starting more, you're moving, you're using your buses more. Them say, Nana, forget that. Is this sabotage in advance to then create an emergency to come to rapid rail? Or they might say, but Anil, how you reach so far? That's how PNM thinks, far in advance to thief all your money. And I'm telling you all now, so all you could record, so when it happened, all you don't come and say, Anil, boy, you really say that, Watch and see. Why would you, when you know the demand for buses is going to increase, the demands on the Public Service Transportation Corporation is going to increase, but you cancel tender for tire and battery, so bus go break down. They also cancel tender for supply and delivery of automotive repairs, cleaning supplies and toiletries to the... So what? The whole place going to just stink down the place? This is cutting. When increased demand is coming. All you take note and remember, Augustine in Tobago, PNM wants to cling to THA power until 2025. The THA had elections since January. We in June. The PNM running normal in Tobago as if them win landslide, like them win 12-0. Them ignoring the PDP, spending all your taxpayer money, how they want, making decisions, have Rowley inviting people over to Tobago to kill people with COVID-19. People are dying in Tobago of COVID-19. Before Rowley invited Trinis across for the Easter come to Tobago, he boasted that Tobago was pristine. 0 cases, 0 deaths for a certain period, no COVID-19, Rowley boasted. And then he invited all the Trinis with the porous borders coming across with Brazilian variant, normal variant, all kind of variant into Tobago. And now the PNM is just spending all your money and making decisions in Tobago without even considering the other 6, the PDP. Electricity subsidies no longer affordable, says PNM NGC President Mark Loquan. He might say, but Anil, I'm not a PNM. You is a PNM NGC President supporting the PNM policy by the PNM board of Conrad, who's your daddy Enil. And now you come to tell the citizens, Mr. Mark Loquan, that electricity subsidies are no longer affordable. So on top of pandemic, on top of collapse of the economy, on top of your heritage and stabilization money gone, this PNM coming to charge all you for more electricity. I'm sure the people in Gasparillo happy because I hear electricity does go in Gasparillo like it's Gasparillo, like them in Venezuela, like them next to Maracaibo. They can't believe that it's Trinidad and Tobago. Electricity does go in Gasparillo like 2, 3 times for the week for hours on end. Well, they come in, even to Ole and Gasparillo, to charge all you more for that electricity supply that you don't even get consistently. And all your thing does mash up with surge. But here the interesting part, Mark Loquan sell out the PNM, Rowley and Smallpin because he's giving you a reason why they have to raise your rates. Why they have to raise each and every one of you who using electricity, down to Archie who using electricity right here to deliver Douglas politics to you. They're going to charge you extra. Why? Why must all 1.39 Trinis and 180,000 bennies for a total of what? 1.57 million people pay extra for electricity. Why must we do that? Well, here Mark Lukwan, president of NGC, he's going to tell us why. Mark Lukwan said, and it's clearly not a factor to be ignored. For the next few rounds, in the days of old, you had the margins of the NGC to absorb some of these things. We don't have the margins anymore. What are the margins? The margins is that NGC, when they buy gas from the upstreamers, those who suck it out the ground, they buy it at a price and then they go on to sell it to Point Lisas and these companies who need it to make downstream products. But when two idiots went to Houston and tried to negotiate with people who were much smarter than both of them and came back with a horrendous negotiation, signed, sealed, and delivered by Rowley and Smallpin, since then the margins on both sides have collapsed. So we had little margin between our wholesale price that we purchase and then the world prices on global. The other people now downstream had a COVID-19 collapse of aggregate demand, so margins get squeezed on both sides. Rowley and Smallpin have caused you to have to pay more for your electricity. How the dancers go? Left foot, balize. Right foot, balize. Everybody just do the balize. Left foot. Yes, as you go to pay your increased rate, I want all my balize people to when the security check you by the T&Tech door, just come through. Right foot, balize. Right foot, and go to the counter, happy, and take out your money, and do so, and count it in the rhythm to the balize. Yes. Elections have consequences. Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Kevin Ramnarayan would have never negotiated any price so stupid and ridiculous. Number one, they would have allowed the intelligent technocrats at the NGC who were negotiating on our behalf very well. That's why they had a stalemate, because they're negotiating strong. And the clown called Rowley went and put his big Doctor of Stone's nose into it. And the upstreamers, they were making good profits. Their profits after Rowley's negotiation, go and check, don't take my word for it, go and check, they have to report. They went up 67%. Now, if they went up 67% in what is a zero-sum game, it means that somebody had to go down 67%. Unfortunately, you, me, all of us, we are the ones who had to go down. So now, all of us, you, me, we have to pay for Rowley's stupidity as our T&Tech rates go up. How we do the dance? Left foot, balize. Everybody just do the balize. Right foot, nice. And while you all are doing the balize, this is one person who should really do balize. Because, boy, since Balize reached, this person has moved to superstardom. This person might be the world's greatest. Better than Hazley Ezekiel Crawford. It's not Ezekiel, that's my boy, I just called Hazley Crawford. Better than Keshawn Walker. Better than the Mighty Sparrow. Better than, who you want to call? Wendy Fitzwilliam. Better than Janelle Penny Commission. Better than the Steel Pan. Better than the Despers. Better than anything Trinidad and Tobago ever had. The best in the world. Angus Young of NCB Global. They are moving right along there in the stock market, the stockbrokers, the merchant bank. He moved in public sector work from zero. And then his brother put his hand on the Bible and he swore to do what's best for you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Want that small pin. He put that hand on the Bible and he handed it on him. I don't know how. He said he's going to serve you, the people. But somehow, just by flukes, his brother, who's the CEO of a little rat's tail company where we just drink rum on the avenue, right by Frankie's there, drinking a rum and soda and talking and relaxing after a hard week. Right there, zero work September 2015 public sector. Move up to $3.81 billion in work of your taxpayer dollars. Just so, and he just happened to be Stuart Young brother, Richard Young's son, the triplets of the small pins, just by coincidence. They now move from NCB Global Finance to NCB Merchant Bank or something. Now they're on the stock exchange. Now they're stockbrokers. Man, this guy's great. This Angus Young, oh gosh, the world is looking for this guy. He's so smart. There's one problem, you know. Public sector work, in which his brother is the super minister in the public sector, went up. Oh, good. Private sector work did not follow. Does that lead you all to ask questions? What can I say? Coincidence. They came to serve you. Very good. But now if they do the balize, I am all turning up the music for them. If Stuart Young, small pin, Richard Young, small pin father, Angus Young, mighty tiny pin, if them dancing balize, oh Lord, them should dance balize morning, noon and night. Them should go to sleep making love to balize. Asha Javid should, no, Asha no longer balize, left foot, right foot, go on Goodwood Park, hard luck. So now, let me tell you what goes on in this country. The business groups are saying, get going with the procurement regulator. 7 of the country's biggest business organizations are calling on the government to stop procrastinating with the office of the procurement regulator. The group stated that after intense lobbying and outcry from the public, the amendment was finally assented to by the President of the Republic on December 27, 2020. The next step in the process was the amendment to the draft regulations to bring it in line with the amended PDPA. Based on our direct ongoing queries to the OPR, we were informed that the OPR finally met with the LRC on April 3rd, 2021. And more alarmingly, they were informed that the meeting was adjourned to a date to be declared. But they are saying, let's go, let's move with the Really? Hold up. This is what the Business Express, this is what the media done. I'm asking you all out there, isn't it the majority of people, businesses, citizens want the amendments that Rowley, Al-Rawi, one-shot, tight pants, a la recusal, a la rental, a la outfit he own building, a la don't disclose fees, even though he call on to disclose all. That they went to gut the procurement regulation, and my feeling from the people is that they want the amendments repealed and the act returned to its glory as it was passed by 3/5 majority under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. That's what I thought. These people are trying to say, no, hurry up with the procurement, the gutted one, the one that legalized thieving, hurry up with that now. Really? What do you all say? What do you say out there? You see, this is the games they play. And this is why some business people play games and they don't care who's in charge once they are happy. So they get a kakada, they get a contract, they get a little work, they are happy because Rowley organized them. But the rest are we, the other 99.7% suffering. So is it that? Because tell me if I'm wrong, because I talk to many people, I've seen many conferences, I've heard many experts, and they all say that Al-Rawi, Al-Recusal, Al-Tight Pants, and Rowley had to remove those amendments that they came to the Parliament and the Senate to legalize thieving. They had to withdraw that. Them come to print the article now. Go forward, quick. Shh. The people not watching. COVID-19 killing them. They're suffering. They're worrying about the family. Go quick and thief. No, not so. The Douglas watching still. So while I'm paining and hurting for my people, my elderly, my citizens who are dying, COVID-19, from incompetence, porous borders, are still watching this. All you don't feel like you're watching it. All you want this to go quick, move with this so thieving could start. All you're sick. Here, as we say sick, look, the Attorney General stands firm on non-disclosure. And let's hear the media, let's hear the columnists, let's hear the corporate governance professors in this country. Let's hear the intellectual capital. Let's hear the law association. Let's hear the political activists. Let's hear the political scribes. Silence. An attorney general, the worst attorney general in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, the biggest dunce to ever swear in as an attorney general, the only attorney general to ever rent out his own building, the only attorney general to sit in a cabinet and approve $38 million for himself. Well, he stepped out of copy, but he brethren them approve it for him because he recused himself to approve $38 million of taxpayers' money to outfit his own private personal property that will remain his for life. The only attorney general who made laws en masse and then gone and dribble in man's ears without he mask while braying like a donkey. The only attorney general who wear the same shirt in 3 public events and feel that he could hold his breath as he squeezed his legs into a tight pants. That attorney general who came into power attacking the former attorney general, who win case, this attorney general lost 30 case straight. This attorney general take his friend client out of court from the government trying to recoup billions of dollars. Just end that case. The privy councillors, the privy councils laugh and could not believe what kind of stupidity exists in the Attorney General and Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago. This man who attacked Ananan and Anana to come and read out, Johnny get 2 million in brief, Susan get 5 million. This one had 4 cases and had to list out everything because it's taxpayer money. He come to tell all you that he not disclosing nothing. And let's listen again. Let me listen. I've been reading the newspapers, looking at the TV, listening to those intellectuals, those people who believe in corporate governance, those anti-corruption people, Transparency International, other groups. I'm listening to hear somebody say something about this Attorney General who is giving out briefs, attacking others, and now disclosing, claiming that disclosure is illegal. The disclosure will hurt cases. He not disclosing what he paid with your money. And let's listen again. Amazing. But the Express, I must say, the Express editorial, the 9th of June 2021, defending the right to know. After 54 years of independent journalism, we are experienced enough to read the play. We have also become accustomed to how politicians change their tunes on the media depending on whether they are in or out of office. So, I mean, you try to make a point that really didn't stand because you try to claim that your independence and your independent vein of journalism goes unfettered and unblemished. No, Express. For many years, you had a lady called Asha Javid writing for you, Express. Maybe you were not aware, but simultaneously, she was in love and making children with a former PNM Attorney General. She then done with he when he was kind of out of favor, and she went with another strong, high-ranking PNM minister, well, member who later became the Minister Extraordinaire, the Gary Sobers, the Minister of Rowley, the Prime Minister's K-Pax. He became the closest, he became as close to Rowley as O'Halloran was close to Dr. Eric Williams. And this was your girl, your #1 Express investigative reporter, political investigative journalist, writing stories in your newspaper without disclosing her love for the PNM. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy for those PNM guys if they get loving. That's not my concern. I'm happy for anybody who gets loving. But when you come into the profession of journalism in a 2-party state and you're writing in the #1 newspaper of the country, selling 79,000 papers per day, and you have an affinity and a love for one group as opposed to the next, everything you write and everything you put into that newspaper and that periodical is blemished, it's tarnished, it's not good. It's not good journalism. It does not adhere to the principles of journalistic integrity. Express, you had that for years. Asha Javid had front page on front page on front page on me alone. And all was lie. Forget that it was not in me alone. Every other minister, while she was snuggling up at night with PNM ministers, Express. Now if you tell me that you didn't know, you still have to apologize. Then you are at fault for not knowing. But if you knew that, well then you can't make this point about politicians willy-nilly, because I don't care. I don't want no newspaper on my side. I like hard questions. I'll answer any hard question. That's your work. But I want you to be fair. If you're asking the UNC and you're asking Anil hard question, do the same thing with the PNM. Express, you also then went on to hire Anika Gum-Sandiford. Y'all don't have a record of journalistic integrity. Yes, since October 2020. I don't know what happened in October 2020. You have returned to the moorings of journalistic integrity and you're printing the truth. And I have said that since October 2020 that your newspaper has gone back to basics and printing truth and facts. But where was that from May 2010 to September 2020? Now I just know by coincidence somebody tried to buy out OCM shares surreptitiously and so on, and I don't know if that is connected to any change in the editorial position to move from pro-PNM, pro-Rowley, pro-nonsense, pro-Balize into fairness. I don't know. But you tell me, Express. So don't try to feign attack like everybody attacks media. When you're in government, you're against media, and when you're out, that's PNM. That's what PNM does. That's what Rowley does. Imagine Rowley could attack the Guardian. The Guardian which has him where he is, the Express that have him, if they write one true article, Rowley is attack the media. Well, boy, will Kamla Prasad be says, I don't know. Well, she could attack every single day, 3 times per day. As we talking about attack, put up an image there for me, my boys. There's a, Indira Sajawan Ali. You said something. Let me read it. Indira Sajawan Ali, very intelligent lady. Madam Leader of the Opposition, use of Kuva Hospital illegal? That's your bother in the middle of a pandemic? When 10 hospitals are acceptable, you have a problem with the hospital you built and clamored to be open pre-COVID being used, and blind sheep defend? The leadership crisis in TNT is more contagious than COVID, says Indira. Leave it up there, Sajawan Ali. Well, Indira, here comes a blind sheep. Okay? Oh God, all right, I don't want to see she. Let me see the words. Oh Lord. You throw me off there, Archie. Archie, I can't watch all of that. Anyway. Indira Sajawan Ali, I'm one of the blind sheep, let's say. But I know that you, just like the entire country, we are frightened, we're scared, we're terrified. The 90% since May 11th of this Brazilian variant and our citizens dying is heartbreaking every day. So I understand that you're afraid and scared for your family, your friends, and for your country, and I agree with you. But unfortunately, you missed the entire point. Because for someone of your intelligence to miss an entire point and to put this public post up, it shows that you are more emotional than factual. You didn't research. So, use of the Kuva Hospital, when the Honorable Leader of the Opposition is talking about it being illegal, she didn't just wake up on a morning and out of a vacuum go to decide that within a pandemic. There were some critical actions that occurred beforehand. Davlin Thomas, the CEO of the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, and the NCRHA put a scathing attack on highly qualified specialist senior doctors, shifting them and moving them out of the heat of the pandemic fight to save our lives. The doctors and Dr. Don Martin, who operates the Couva Medical Facility, they showed in the Express that Mr. Davlin Thomas was not forthcoming with the truth. In other words, he lied. He said that Dr. Don Martin had requested that these senior officials who were having problems with the playwrights' management of the COVID-19 pandemic while we were dying, they had problems with his management as he was doing things wrong. They wanted to correct it. He decided to move them out rather than allow them to do their job. This then went on further as Davlin Thomas took on the NCRHA letterhead, wrote and concocted and twisted statistics to say that since his move, which he lied on Dr. Don Martin first, since his move, the death rate at the Couva Hospital had gone down 60%. And the discharge rate had gone up 25%. Every person from the CMO, the Minister of Duns Convent Girl, and many other intelligent doctors disagreed with that and called it a medico-legal issue, as stated by Dr. Bratt and Dr. Tilak Singh in an article in a joint column. They said that this was serious accusations being made by the head of the NCRHA on an NCRHA letterhead against senior medical doctors. So it became a medical legal issue. Now, a medical legal issue also supported by the Medical Association of Trinidad and Tobago, who took offense and great umbrage to the written statements of Davlin Thomas of the NCRHA. Also, the Trinidad and Tobago Nurses Association took great umbrage to the concoction and playing with statistics in a pandemic that is affecting how they impact their safety, security, and protecting our lives. So the issue then became a medical legal one. Kamla Prasad Bisesa is a senior counsel. The government was standing firm behind the playwright Davlin Thomas. Davlin Thomas said that he will fight. Fight for what? Fight who? We don't know. And from that context, Kamla Prasad Bisesa asked the question, who and what, under what law does Davlin Thomas and the NCRHA have to make decisions on the Couva Hospital? Therefore, would that legal entity, meaning she can clear the way for the Medical Association, the 11 senior doctors who wrote against Davlin Thomas, Dr. Don Martin, all the specialists, to get in there and fight to save our lives against this dunce called Davlin Thomas. So I know you were emotional. You probably didn't follow all the facts. I hope I have brought it to you and that you would please change that. Because I can assure you that the leader of opposition in a pandemic where we are dying, where she asked for debate since January 2020, where she asked for a security dome to be constructed, I use the word constructed, to be created around Trinidad and Tobago to protect us. When she asked for ICU units and ventilators, for testing kits, for contact tracing, when she did all of these things, when she asked for more help for the poor and those who couldn't work, when she called for systematic reduction of the lockdowns, for the repatriation of citizens from the exemption policy that was oppressing rights, the lady that has been in the forefront of giving suggestions, putting her team to fight the pandemic, to try to go to make Trinidad and Tobago safe, while Keith Christopher Rowley and his convent girl have ignored every suggestion, and we are now the worst in the world. We are dying. Our citizens are dying. But you misunderstood. You did not have all the facts. You did not understand the position of the honorable leader of the opposition. And I call upon you, Ms. Indira Sajawan Ali, now that I have presented you with the facts and understanding now of the importance of who has the legal right to manage that Couva hospital. And if Davlin Thomas does not, it means that it clears the way for our senior doctors, our medical association, our Dr. Bratt and Dr. Tilak Singh, our nurses, and all those who are affected by Davlin Thomas's mismanagement to be cleared, and someone new, someone intelligent, someone who could bring everybody together to improve our fight against the pandemic so that we can save lives, rather than waking up every morning and hearing there were 12 in ICU yesterday, 12 died. There were 16 in ICU yesterday, 16 died. So, Ms. Sajawan Ali, I look forward to my next program where I will put up your Facebook post or tweet, whatever this was. Now that I have informed you of the situation, and I know that you're a fair human being, and you're a factual person, intelligent, and you're not run by emotions, that you will correct this. I hope you do. We'll take a short break, and I call upon you. All right, do the right thing. I mean, all of us right. And I know you're emotional, but not a good look for an intelligent lady like yourself. We're coming back.
These are not homeless people. These are not big and these big Trinidad people talking about the old folks and them, the elders, the ones who was here before us, and this is how we treat them. This wasn't something that. This isn't even voluntary. Right now, this is something that you could say almost forced upon them, because without the vaccine, people can't operate, people can't do anything. So they need to come out here and get these vaccines, and this is something that was expected. So let's plan properly and get this thing done the right way. Alright, so as I said, I'm doing this myself.
Well done, Shane. And that's what's been going on. Trinis, Tobagonians, Trinbagonians across the country taking care of each other. I mean, one can only extrapolate without the love and care that we show for each other where we would have been in this collapse, this calamity, this disaster that is Convent Girl disaster thing. From one disaster to another one. I heard that this Ethelbert, this Minister of National Security, this Pomsite Rasta, who has done nothing, who is still claiming in the face of science, in the face of epidemiologists and scientists telling us, yes man, very nice, that Ethelbert there. Take him back out now. Take him out, take him out. I don't want to see him. That is frightening me. What are you trying to do, scare me? Let me do the show just now. This Ethelbert, who comes in and tries to tell you that the Brazilian variant that is 90% since May 11, 90% of the cases since May 11, that has brought death and destruction to our country. He's saying there's no science to say it come from porous borders. He's done nothing. He said it have 15 porous point, he go handle that, he handled nothing. He said, well, 2 cutlass come in, not Puya, you know, 2 cutlass vessel come in July sometime, so he go leave it so until then. And then these 2 vessels will miraculously keep us safe. The same air guard, no fuel, no diesel, no helicopter, no army deployed down on the Southwest Peninsula, no night moving vehicles with floodlights, no roadblocks, no police roadblocks, nothing. We just good. An Indian variant in Venezuela. This Ethelbert say, this Ethelbert had the gumption to say that if COVID-19 had a face, it would be UNC. Really, Ethelbert? Really? Well, let me tell you something. Ethelbert, if COVID-19 had a face, it definitely would not be UNC. Because UNC would have studied, would have looked at who did what, who did well, and put a plan in place from since January 2020 to deal with COVID-19 with proper testing, creating a curve, contact tracing, proper ventilators, a lot of testing, private sector testing, mass early implementation, and keeping our borders pristine, keeping our domestic repatriation of people under the PAHO protocols, making sure that grants went out in time, increased grants, not $1,500 a month by 3 months, probably $3,000 a month by 6 months would have been given to the people. We would not have spent $23 billion of heritage and stabilization money and only given $425 million to the people. We would have had vaccines here from India, from Modi himself. Kamala Prasad Bisesa would have gone and meet with Modi face to face and get 500,000. The 351,000 that Ansa Makal got from Pfizer would have been here. We would have been well on the way to herd immunity already. So that's what the UNC would have done, because the UNC has doctors. We don't depend on Pomsite Rastas at Elbert. The only thing you good for is a horror movie. You talking about if the face was? Well, let me tell you something, my brother. If Dotish had a face, it will be you at Elbert. Look, exactly. If Pomsite Rasta had a face, it will be you at Elbert. If Mama Pullman had a face, look it at Elbert. If Ugly, not ugly, if Ugly had a face, look at Elbert. Perfection. And finally, if Dobed had a face, well, at Elbert, they said this was the cleanest you ever was after this day. They say you was pristine, like you bathed down with Life Boy. They say that you should go there once a week to ensure that you get your bath. So let me tell you something. If your face was available to the world, COVID-19 would have been no more. It would have never been a pandemic. You so ugly, you would have scared the COVID out of the globe. From the first infection, all they had to do is show your face. And COVID run. I tell Bert, why you don't study to protect my people? The Indian variant coming. You have done nothing, you incompetent clown dunce. You're an embarrassment to Rasta. You're Pomsite Rasta. From one clown to the next. Vasant, Vasant, let me tell you, Vasant. I just try to stay calm, Vasant. But Vasant, you'd like to make Douglas politics, Vasant. Vasant, look at Vasant Barra. They having a discussion, balling about the opposition and what they could do, of course, you know, Vasant, yes. And somebody ball, more importantly, who will hold the government to account? Who will hold them to account? And Vera Ramata, well, lady, you know, she said, Vasant Bharat, according to the opposition worshippers, we the citizens have to do it ourselves. Opposition is just here for lip service. And here, Vasant, tragic for us all. Tragic for us all, Vasant, that the opposition is just giving lip service. The opposition is not fighting, Vasant. Vasant, who's going to hold the PNM to account? But Vasant, you are on the PNM. You are on the roadmap to recovery. The PNM is following your playbook, Vasant. So when you want to hold the PNM to account, go in front one of your mirror home day. Right? Whether bedroom, downstairs, living room, go in your mirror and talk to your flipping self, Vasant. You on the recovery committee, Vasant. You on the PNM committee, Vasant. You on Gypsy, Vasant. Go, you talk about the opposition. Okay, Vasant, let me ask you this, Vasant. Let me ask you this, Vasant. When Telbert came out and say, well, we must get the next variant, the border's good, we have it down cork. Did you join the opposition in calling for Telbert and the PNM to lock down the borders? Vasant, did you call on the PNM to increase testing? Did you call on the PNM to remove Davlin Thomas, who's attacking every doctor under the sun and putting our lives at risk? Did you call on the PNM to stop raiding the Heritage and Stabilization Fund? Did you call on the PNM to ensure that we have our radar, police and army and so on because the Indian variant is coming? Did you call on the PNM to buy more ventilators because we only have 24 and we had 1.66 per 100,000, and we need to be up at 12.79 per 100,000 to be a developed country status? Did you call on the PNM to get more oxygen? Did you call on the PNM to get vaccination? The whole world vaccinated. Then now, the USA nearly reached 200 million vaccination. Vaccine. Did you criticize the PNM for losing the 351,000 vaccines that we could have had from Pfizer? Did you criticize them for not getting to Prime Minister Modi and getting 100, 200, 300,000 vaccination? Did you criticize the PNM vaccine? Did you say anything against your PNM vaccine? You talking about me and the opposition? Vaccine? Did you criticize Keith Christopher Rowley for inviting everybody to come to Tobago? Tobago's open for business. Tobago had no cases. Come to Tobago. I didn't hear you, Vasant. Vasant, hush your mouth, eh, boy? Because I don't want to put you on the show. Go on your red shirt, your red recovery KFC team, and you tell them from the inside what stupidness they're doing. Okay, Vasant? You know, I wish I didn't see that post, you know, boy. Kamla Prasad Bisesa calls for COVID inquiry. And some people are bawling, well, what do you want an inquiry now while we're in a pandemic and so on? Let me tell you something. In this country, we're supposed to be able to walk and chew gum. People are dying. Doctors are not being able to operate. They're not functioning. Systems are wrong. Never before has the entire medical fraternity been in unison in the condemnation of Davlin Thomas and by extension, Minister of Health, Terence Dial Singh, who is defending Davlin and say Davlin Thomas not going nowhere. People are dying. The goal now is to stay out of the ICU. Don't go in the ICU because the ICU equal death because of Davlin Thomas and his lack of management skills in understanding who are the professionals, the specialists, the senior doctors who are far brighter than him. And then we have Minister Gadsby Dolly. These PNM, they just keep bringing hit after hit after hit. She has this way now, she's posting some sort of, you know, she can't be original, so she had to borrow things from other people. So she posted this one. We are disturbed not by things, but by the view which we take of them. Very interesting. Leave it there, you know. Let that soak in my people, you know. So Dr. Diane, what's she name? Dr. Nayan Gadsby Dolly. You are disturbed. We are disturbed not by things, but by the view which we take of them. Okay. I'm trying to read this brilliant phrase here. I'm going to apply it to myself. So, I am not really disturbed by the fact that for 16 months, my children of Trinidad and Tobago, 46,690 of them, plus 2,000 that dropped out who were online, 48,690 children have had no education whatsoever for 16 months. And that upsets me. So you are saying that it upsets me because of the view that I take of it, but it's okay with you. So what view do you take of that? What, that is not your child? That all your Balize children good? What is your view? Is my view warped that I find children missing out on critical 16 months of education will impact their lives for generation? My view is warped by what? When you saw the elderly, 90-year-olds, 78-year-olds, 60-year-olds, look, people had to go out. Their view was, this is terrible. And they went and got chairs and put them and separated them and put them to sit down, get umbrellas and water for them and took care of the elderly. Those fellas, their view of that, they saw that and they decided to do that. What was your view of that, Miss PNM Gadsby Dolly? Your view was what? That sunlight is good for the elderly. You know, you could get their vitamin D, they would get fitter. That they needed exercise and, you know, standing up in the hot sun could make them sweat and their heart rate go up. So it will be like exercising. Is that the view you took? You see, I'm trying to figure out this nonsense that you're printing. I don't know if you understand what you put for the public to read. So I'm asking you, what was your view of the elderly across this country being made to suffer 3 days straight with no vaccination in sight. How did you view that, Dr. Dolly? The 640 deaths that have occurred within a short space of time, 500 of them within 2 months. I view that as tragic, torturous, pathetic. I view your government as totally incompetent and responsible. I view some of your decisions as a cabinet as being criminally negligent. How do you view those deaths from COVID-19 that you said we were number 1 in the world? Number 1 in the world. How do you view those deaths, Dr. Diane Gadsby-Dolly? Now I view, when I see you every week with a different set of bundles in your head, I find you look good. Somebody else might find, but you have a lot of time to flip in ways. Because children are no school, children are out of school, the crime rate going up, they're losing opportunity, future is bleak, nobody ain't getting no scholarship, UTT getting no funding, not a school bill, school feeding program on shutdown, teachers are getting a stipend, invigilators not getting CAPE and so on, making a big total mess, the whole education system upside down. You have a racist man, Theodore Lewis, talking stupidness and even blaming all your PNM for not making sure that black people do good in school and blaming Indian for the black man doing bad in school. All of this going on under the education. But you good to go and get your next bundles. My view might be warped on the bundles, you know, because over the years, I have some nightmares about girls with bundles. So I kind of prefer the natural look, you know, the natural afro, the natural flowing hair. Once I feel clips and, what you call them, rack and rail or tray, whatever all it is called, that's kind of flinch. So, PNM, could you all stay focused? You all are really failing. And like you don't even want, you all need to call a 2-minute retreat and stop this stupidity, because a bunch of people could never be so dumb. And whoever you're listening to, listen to somebody else, because people are dying. The tourism sector picking up in St. Lucia. Cruise ship going by Barbados. Guyana open and running. Full herd immunity by next month in Guyana. Vaccination coming from Sputnik to AstraZeneca to Pfizer to Sinopharm. Every type of vaccination in Guyana. Drive up, injection. Park up, injection. Everybody just do the Guyana. Guyana. And over here is line up, suffer, super spreader, more death to come by June 23rd. I'm reading a little article here from Dr. Joel David Tillotson and Dr. Bratt, page 14, Guardian, Wednesday, June 9th. Let me make sure it's the Guardian, eh? Yes, Guardian. Lack of understanding on being outdoors and COVID. We are concerned with the recent closure of parks and banning of outdoor exercise. We believe that this betrays a lack of understanding of risk, as these activities do not contribute to COVID-19. There has never been an outdoor super spreader event. Just hearing sun, wind, breeze, okay? A lot of you all said, oh, Kamla, and laugh. Sun kills COVID-19. Well, we need to read, you know, because the sun does kill COVID-19. It only lives 12 hours in the sun, the hot sunlight. Whereas in cool temperatures and indoors in air condition, it lives for 72 long hours. And if it lives longer, there is more time for it to spread. People could touch it. You see, if it's on this table, you have 72 hours. If anybody touched this table within 72 hours and then touch the eye, or their nose or their mouth, they would get it. But if this table was outside in the hot sun, and somebody went, achoo, and COVID-19 was here, it will only stay there 12 hours. So if somebody touched it within that 12 hours, they could spread it. But after 12 hours, it will be dead, 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 because the sunlight killed the COVID. Okay? Dr. Bratt and Dr. Tillotson continue. We need to avoid the 3 C's: close, crowded, and close contact settings, and indoor events with poor ventilation or airflow are 20 times more likely to transmit SARS-CoV-2, especially with the shouting, chanting, singing, or talking. Come to Tobago. Sit down on an enclosed aircraft, 90% capacity, comes up, chunks up, half an hour before we take off, 15-minute flight, 10 minutes to disembark. Oh my goodness. COVID. Brilliant. They continue: the chance of acquiring the virus when exercising outdoors alone is virtually non-existent. Yet we have no exercising outside by yourself. None whatsoever. We also have people dying. And the scientists say comorbidities is why you die. Obesity, lack of exercise, fitness. The exercise helps with your management of your comorbidities. But our plan, our science, our brilliance is stay home, get fat and unfit, and pray not to get COVID. And once you go in the ICU, dead. Great is the PNM. All are we go be PNM till we dead, because death is on the doorstep and it's not funny. Right? Ticketing joggers or cyclists for a slipped mask seems as ridiculous as issuing similar penalties to a 9-year-old who has forgotten to wear her mask in the family's car. Just to let you know, Guyana's COVID-19 vaccination rollout injected with 100,000 more Sputnik 5 jabs. As Guyana continues its aggressive COVID-19 vaccination rollout, after already administering more than 210,000 people with their first of 2 doses, 210,000 people. And Guyana population is half of we own. But them double or triple our capacity already in COVID-19. And watch Guyana. That's vaccination. Drive through, 10, relax. You could imagine our elderly in the car just relaxing in the air conditioner, or windows down preferably. And they just come, doctors come up, fill out the card, give them the injection. They just stay, they don't contact anybody else. They're with the family. And they drive back home safely. They don't have to use no walker, no wheelchair, no sit down on pavement, no stress on their joints, no pain on their arthritis to walk through pothole that the PNM have all over the road. None of that. Look at it. But the way our PNM is so dotish, they could not even copy Guyana. They couldn't even go on a Caribbean Airlines flight from Trinidad to Guyana. I didn't say they had to read a book or a newspaper or watch TV or BBC or Guyana News or Starbrook News. I didn't say that. They could have just gone and look. Look what Guyana doing. Look what Barbados doing. And look at my country. Look at my people under the left foot, right foot, Balize incompetence. And you all think this is funny? Look at that. That took place all over Trinidad and Tobago. Look at my people. Anyway, moving right along. In total, Guyana has received about 305,537 doses of Sputnik 5 vaccine, as well as 118,400 AstraZeneca. That's 423,937 vaccine, plus 20,000 Sinopharm. Guyana. And the PNM went there to try and remove that government from Guyana. Thank the Lord, Guyana is brighter than we. You could imagine that? If we had Guyana and Trinidad in this COVID-19 mess. This is SOE and curfew, but super spreader event created by the convent girl, created by Dayal Singh. Imagine that. Telling people, come out for vaccine, but you know you don't have. You know you have a short supply. But yet, you telling people, come out for vaccine. Run the track.
As soon as we have the sign-off from Sinopharm to discuss matters, we will do so as it relates to shipping, arrival dates, and so on, as we have always done when vaccines are brought into the country. Thank you very much.
With respect to the claim about a secret shipment of vaccines, TV6 received information from an employee at Piarco International Airport who alleged that a shipment of vaccines had arrived under the cloak of night.
Bringing vaccines tonight again, but only one box. They're keeping it real ourselves, all of them here. Well, not the minister here, but everybody else.
Granny Mago say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
I'm shy. I'm tired. Jesus, I'm tired.
I've not heard the answer. I will ask again and I will keep asking. And to members of the media, please, could you all ask, please? I know that in the Parliament and in the Senate questions are coming up. I am asking again on April 22nd, Minister Diyal Singh, did 500 vaccines come into Trinidad and Tobago, Covishield vaccines, come to NIPDEC? And if that is so, well, I know that it is so, how come you have not mentioned it? Mr. Romano on the Normalization Committee of the football, you are the chairman of the NIPDEC board. How the PNM and normalization, PNM and football, PNM so close to the football, how rowly? Mr. Romano, you not also at National Flour Mills under the PNM, and you are the chairman of NIPDEC, and Dr. Mariam Abdul Richards, you who come out to be a superstar, superfly, supermass wearing PNM scientist, you on NIPDEC board, you on the ERHA board, and you on the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards board, all under the PNM. Wow, man. I'm proud of you. You should have Balize. Next press conference, put a Balize mask on, man. Okay? Where the 500 vaccine, Terence? Terry. Not Fennec, you know, but Terry and Terence, anybody named Terry. I am banning any mothers from calling the child Terence or Terry for the rest of the year. Any pregnant lady now, if you dare call my little Trinbagonian child Terry or Terence, I'm going to have to get a lead poll and change it. All you, the Douglas is banning for the rest of 20, I hope for life, but I will go for the rest of 2021. Any little baby come out anywhere, public sector, private sector, all your mamas, just stay clear of the name Terence. Please. So let us know where the 500 vaccines now. Dr. Miriam, tell me now, where the vaccine? Because I'm listening all over, I hear vaccine from all over and they hear about that 500 vaccine. Let me go now. I was telling all you, this vaccine thing, this vaccine debacle that has gotten worse now. I told you the PNM could be investigated for criminal negligence. Vaccination is a time game. You have to rush to vaccination to herd immunity because COVID-19 presents two problems, health and death and economic devastation. And the vaccination and the herd immunity, educate to vaccinate, that's the way to go. And to get vaccines from all over, all sources, you have to be great. You have to be moving. Rowley said he was working 24/7, night and day and night, and he failed. That should mean come out the people work. Because if you go night and day and night to do something and you achieve nothing, you're a complete failure. It's simple logic, simple mathematics. Like the half of 180,000 equal 140,000, that's all. That's PNM arithmetic. So let me tell you that right here on Douglas Politics, we told you all that. Since May 11th, we tell all you that. I fed up say, I tell all you so, you know, but I tell all you so, run it. Timing is very critical in vaccination programs. It's a race to herd immunity. Those USA done clock in July 4th. herd immunity with a 333 million population. Israel done gone, Seychelles gone, this one, Australia reaching 70%, Canada reaching 52%, going down the road racing. We at about 3%. But timing is very important. So when the Honorable Minister of Finance says that Sinopharm, the Chinese vaccine, has now gotten the same approval as Pfizer, AstraZeneca and others, here's the problem. They got it 3 months later. And 3 months in a vaccination program is critical. In the last 3 months, in the last 11 days, we've lost 55 people. We've had 55 people die. So by waiting that 3 months for a vaccine that we just learned from the Honorable Minister of Finance that had been signed off on a loan over nearly a year ago, 170 million euro loan, 205 million US dollar loan with China, which involves 15% of that dealing with Chinese vaccines, that we must buy Chinese vaccines. The delay because of that negotiation and that signing of that conditionality of the loan cost lives. Waiting for that WHO approval, that 3 months, that 90 days has set back our vaccination program to dead last. That is dangerous. That is irresponsible. That is poor management. That is poor decision making. More poor decision making. Putting us in a state of emergency, keeping us locked down, extending the curfew hours on a Friday from 7 p.m. and having us like a bunch of children and our big daddy waiting to hear him come to talk to us, disrespecting and trampling our human rights without any scientific evidence whatsoever, holding us down to a lockdown where people are starving and suffering and the economy is absolutely shattered, where even the Dwayne, who does lie on a morning, an evening and twice in the night as he's sleeping, say that we are in grave peril. Where everybody knew that from the time we made a flawed, failed engineer who built things that has blown down a Minister of Finance, a man who only cares about himself and whose intelligence is as much as his height. More poor decisions leading to a nullification of any hope that any lockdown, a lockdown that is supposed to, by PAHO and World Health Organization standards, give you a little time. A lockdown is to buy time for you to improve your testing, your contact tracing, to get ventilators, improve your ICU, prepare your systems, prepare your bed, improve your parallel health sector, and so on, to make sure that your borders are locked down properly and repatriation goes on systematically. That's what you have a lockdown for, to prepare to suppress the virus. We have done none of these things, but what we have done while we have been locked down, and we have lost $4 billion this month to GDP. The government's decision to say first come, first serve. How asinine could that be? You did not have vaccines for first come, first serve. You only had 3 watermelon and 20 people, and you say first come, first serve, and to go have fight for watermelon, you bag of dunces. But now we are certain that that super spreader disaster from Disaster Singh and Rowley, that super spreader event about first come, first serve for vaccines that do not exist, that are not here, that abject stupidity while we are in a state of emergency. I can't even say the words, it's so dumb. That is going to ensure that any possible success or suppression, whether temporary or not, because the borders still open, from the lockdown and the state of emergency is nullified. There can be no success from the state of emergency and the curfew now because of what took place 2 days ago. Run it
Starting today, anyone over age 60 or under 60 with non-communicable diseases can walk into a COVID-19 vaccination center and get a shot.
The first thing I must do this morning is apologize to the nation for what has happened this morning. The Ministry of Health, of which I head, we underestimated the demand for vaccines, and we must sincerely apologize, and I as Minister sincerely apologize for this morning. But coming out of this apology, we must learn some lessons. And immediately this morning, we are going to institute the following measure to mitigate against this reoccurring from tomorrow. With surnames starting from A to E, will get into our health centers.
Has the minister done any kind of due diligence to determine how many persons will fall on the letters A to E?
You call people to come out and you have no vaccines. The elderly with sticks standing up 5 o'clock in the morning, and you calling them again. Tomorrow the same thing will happen.
That is Diyal Singh, and he apologized. Not even a very good apology. What did he apologize for? $4 billion wasted. All the days that you stayed home for 35 days of lockdown, wasted. If there was any positive to come out of that, any suppression of the COVID-19 infection, the Brazilian variant, if there was some accrual of possibility of flattening that curve, that straight line, that was all negated by his stupidity. And he come and say, sorry. So $4 billion of sacrifice by each and every citizen, construction workers, daily paid, maxi drivers, shop, retail, small and micro enterprises, everybody who sacrificed with one stupid, idiotic decision that caused a super spreader. All the sacrifice now goes to naught. And he say, sorry, I try to make a difference. I learn. And then he learned. And what did he do? Put another day a super spreader right on top of the first day by saying A to E and only 50 vaccination day. Is he going to come and say sorry? Sorry? Let me tell you something, Diyal Singh, disaster Singh. From June 23rd, and only record my voice on June 23rd or 24th, I want to hear this what I'm saying here. You disaster Singh have to go to every funeral from people who die in the hospitals or at home from COVID-19 from June 23rd go on. You have to attend every funeral and say sorry. You dunce scum bucket. Next one.
A society is judged by the way it treats its most vulnerable. With just over 37,000 Sinopharm vaccines remaining, more elderly persons were turned away from health centers on day 2 of the walk-in vaccination drive.
Hundreds of elderly people and others with non-communicable diseases hurried angrily away from health centers on Thursday, disappointed to learn that only 50 people were being allowed to receive vaccines. Many told TTT News they waited on Wednesday for hours without receiving their vaccines, so they came out on Thursday only to be turned away again.
This is unfair. They don't harmonize. They say 60 and over, right? You have people out here who can't say stand up. Come on, you understand me? This is unfair to people. Why is it doing that?
I heard Mr. Diyal Singh said from A to E could get the vaccine today. I live at Champlain, so I came in this morning to get the vaccine, and I was told it was finished, and they can't tell me what to do after that.
I'm a diabetic and I had operation and all kind of thing. So I don't really know where to do again or where to go anywhere again. right? Because I can't walk properly. I have a spine operation.
Many of the vaccine seekers were seen using walkers, canes, and being assisted by younger relatives to get to vaccination sites.
First of all, they check about 40 people, 50 people, and they let them go after they can't take no more. So the same scene right through. They need to come down here and it making no sense because this happening right through. You understand?
Well, needless to say, many
and Mova, you know. My lady in Mova, it happens because the people who we put in charge are not very intelligent. They're not very caring. They didn't research. They didn't understand. They didn't think. They don't have a plan. They don't know what's best. Their heart is not in the right place. And Mova, you know, elections have consequences. We have to get off of this feeling that election is some football team. It's not. It's not a football game. It's not a volleyball game. It's not a basketball game. When you make decisions, you impact your life. And in this case, it's really impacting lives. I'm sorry to say. Move on. And that was the whole country. But watching them move on. Next one.
persons with surnames beginning with A through E were unable to get vaccinated today, and so it remains to be seen whether persons with surnames F through G will be accommodated on Friday.
The Ministry of Health's attempt to better manage the volume of persons seeking vaccination by introducing an alphabetical system did not go over as expected, as hundreds of persons were still turned away today due to a limited amount of vaccines at the sites.
By the time I get it,
more shipments.
well,
So
okay, tell us that, but why lie to us and tell us come for it, and when you come you can't get it.
Yeah.
Because you have enough.
Yeah, but you try.
I done all already, I 78 years, I'm there anytime, so.
Despite requests made to the Health Ministry, TV6 has received no word on the arrival of the paid shipment of Sinopharm vaccines, despite assurances from the Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley on Saturday it is due to arrive today. According to data from the Health Ministry, of the 100,000 donation received on May 19th to be used exclusively as first doses, by Thursday 62,371 doses have been administered. This chart shows the daily uptake since the ministry started releasing detailed vaccination data on May 27th. On Wednesday, 5,689 Sinopharm vaccines were administered, but according to our count, only 3,600 went to walk-in facilities. On Thursday, 52,009 vaccines were administered, but only 1,800 went to the walk-in over 6-day cohort. Where are the remaining vaccines going? Well, one sector, the Supermarkets Association, over the past 3 days used about 3,000 of their allocated 5,000 vaccines, with 62,371 expended. That leaves 37,629 Sinopharm vaccines remaining. How will it be used? 2,000 more will have to be given to the supermarkets to complete their quota. TV6 has confirmed the Ministry of Health has committed 5,000 doses to the construction sector, 1,500 to hardwares, and an undisclosed number of doses to banking and finance workers, private security firms, and CPEP workers. At a pace of 50 vaccines per 36 health centers, that's 1,800 a day Monday to Friday, it will take 2 weeks for just about 20,000 doses to work into the over 60 population, which in TNT is estimated at 236,000 persons strong.
It will take at Dialsing's rate 2 weeks to 20,000, and there are 260,000 of our citizens over 60. They have to start to invent new adjectives to describe incompetence, inability to think, inability to plan, abject nonsense, dotishness, dangerous, criminal negligence. This is madness. But let me tell you something, right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have to be as stupid as the PNM, you know. We don't have to be as dotish as Convent Girl, the disaster thing, you know. We don't have to be as stupid and dishonest as Keith Rowley, you know. Right here in Trinidad, that have thing making sense, you know. Are you ready? Are you show something making sense right here in Trinidad and Tobago? Just to show you how the PNM dotish. Watch this. Moving right along. Not that. Right. Go. Paul, go ahead. Let me see my army men. Let me tell you something. Whoever did that, the Alsing should come out, and whichever doctor in the army organized this next video when we get it correct, should take the Alsing place. Because the army full of PNM anyway, so it don't matter PNM to PNM. But we want an intelligent PNM. We tired and fed up of the dotish version of the PNM. We are sick of it and we are dying. So take the PNM from the army who did this and replace the Alsing disaster thing with this person who organized this in Trinidad. Watch it.
Right, so here we have the vaccination process. Persons are screened by the gate by the sentry. Then if allowed to come in, they will proceed along this line to line up to approach the tent for their vaccine. So once they get in line, they will be directed to a tent where they will then receive their vaccine. We are here to
Clearly not influenced by Disaster Singh, Davlin Thomas, Rowley, Smallpin, or any of the cabinet members. The Army and Coast Guard organized that with their medical staff so smoothly, so safely, so brilliantly. And the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago is in disaster. What all you want me to say again? What would you all like me to say? And from one liar to our next one. We were asking you all and telling you all about this Sinopharm. And remember Imber talking price and cost. And now the Alsing saying we ain't know the cost and it have non-disclosure and secrecy even on vaccine. And while our people suffering, get ready. Run it, because I don't want all you say and a lie, you know. Run it. Moving right along. The average cost of the Pfizer, the AstraZeneca, the Moderna and the Johnson & Johnson, 15 to 23 US per dose. Do you know what's the average cost? Express, Guardian, those newspapers who are trying to criticize Dr. Rudal Munrinal and the UNC and saying that we want to what? Thwart the government's vaccination program. You know what's the cost of the Sinopharm? 72 US per dose. But Hungary got it, they got it half price at 36. So let's go the half price. 36 US per dose. That's 16 to 21 US above Pfizer, with an 18% lower efficacy ratio. So on pure economics and money, since money is tight, since you all say we have no money, why are we buying the more expensive vaccine that is lower rated?
What I know is that we purchase vaccines from the COVAX facility, about 100,000 vaccines, which we got for a little under $5 US per shot. So you can do the maths. Maybe $500,000 US for that. The Sinopharm vaccines that are coming, the first 100,000 is free. We got some vaccines from India free as well. But we do intend to order. I was talking to the Minister of Health just before I came to this press conference. In fact, I think the Ministry of Health has put in the order already. 1.5 million vaccines. And if whatever they cost within reason, we will find the money to pay for them. I can't tell you at this point in time what they will cost, because the cost of vaccines varies widely depending on which vaccine it is and whether it is coming through something like the COVAX facility. The COVAX facility vaccines are very reasonably priced, $4.50, $5, that sort of thing. If you have to buy directly from Pfizer, those vaccines that were touted, knocked about in the public domain a couple of months ago, they were selling them at $23 for one. I've seen all sorts of ridiculous figures in the, I don't know what to call it, the fake social media, that the Sinopharm will cost $150. That's nonsense. The figure I got today, an indicative price, was $15 US for one. And I've asked my people to go and see if we could get that number down. So you can do the maths. Let's say $10 per vaccine, 1.5 million vaccines, $15 million US dollars. We will spend that money. We will find it and we will spend it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Minister of Health. Can the Minister provide an update on the 1.5 million Sinopharm vaccines that were ordered thus far?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just to correct the records, at no time did the government say we ordered 1.5. What was said is that we have the capacity to pay for 1.5. Two, the negotiations with Sinopharm bilaterally started in this country on September 1, 2020. We signed a non-disclosure agreement with Sinopharm on March the 16th. That prevents us from discussing any matters on the issue of Sinopharm vaccines, whether it's their patent rights, their formulations, their pricing and quantities.
But we do intend to order. I was talking to the Minister of Health just before I came to this press conference. In fact, I think the Ministry of Health has put in the order already. 1.5 million.
Can the Minister provide an update on the 1.5 million Sinopharm vaccines that were ordered thus far?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just to correct the records, at no time did the government say we ordered 1.5. What was said is that we have the capacity to pay for 1.5.
But we do intend to order. I was talking to the Minister of Health just before I came to this press conference. In fact, I think the Ministry of Health has put in the order already. 1.5 million vaccines.
That is your government. That is your government. Right? In May, we buy 1.5. We pay $15. We hear Dogra politics say, oh, 1.5, all right. But Hungary buy it for 36 US. The real cost was 72. What cost? Now they say, oh, secret, non-disclosure. We can't tell you how much we buy. And then the Alsing say, we order no 1.5. What we said was that we had the capacity, if we so wanted, to get 1.5. But Colmember said, and not only did he say, he said we got 1.5. He then went on to add in. He said, I now talk to the Minister of Health before this press conference, before I talk. So what I am telling you is factually correct and supported by data that we have purchased 1.5. He then went on to say, I think they even put in the order already. So he didn't say we was going to think about buying or ordering 1.5, or we had the capacity so to do. He said he now talked to the Alsing and they purchased already 1.5 million doses of Sinopharm with all your money at 15 US per dose. No, the Alsing gets up in the under questioning from David Lee, member of Parliament for Point of Pay, and he gets up and says that the government never said they order no 1.5. Really? You heard it there? And then he said it's a non-disclosure. We can't tell you how much we pay for it. That's your government. That's why you're in a mess, Mova. That's why you're in a mess, Trinidad and Tobago. That's why we are going to get pressure right through, because they're incompetent, them does lie, and they dotish. It's a toxic cocktail. Well, let me tell you something. All you always saying, compare, and then all you do complain, and what? Well, let me show all you what the UNC would I do. Because if Kamala was there, all of this nonsense that's going on here, all of this death, devastation, disaster, and destruction would not have been brought on our country. Run, Kamala.
But we do have some recommendations. So it's not just to come here and shout. I want to make it very clear. I am very patriotic. We in the opposition, we are very patriotic. We are committed to the health and safety and the sustainability of the lives of the people of our country, just as I'm sure every member here is, madam. And suggestions, look, we have to open up the non-essential services. We have to get these workers back out. They need to get back to work. We need to open our borders. We cannot continue to lock out our citizens. Promises we will open it, but no dates, no times. It's like the vaccines, they're forever coming and can't reach. We need to pay the businessmen. We have to give them their VAT refunds. We should pay the VAT refunds. We should consider, Minister says he doesn't want to take off taxes, but I remember when we removed the VAT on food items, 7,000 food items, the VAT revenue did not fall by very much at all. And in fact, Minister projected he would get, 12 billion more in VAT, and when you looked at the numbers, they were far less. That is another way you can help without impacting seriously on your revenue stream from the VAT things that come in. So my colleagues will go into details, madam. I've stayed out of the line items to prevent them from getting repetitive. They will go into details on the various line items. I want to make it clear, whilst these things may seem necessary and urgent at this time, they must be disbursed at $3 billion with transparency and accountability. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
And much, much more. And you could check on social media, and everybody knows from January 2020 with the difference that a UNC administration would have made. It's not just talk, it's actual policy, it's actual positions, it's actual planning, it's actual implementation, it's understanding. There it is. And it's much, much more, including the borders, including the flattening of the curve, including keeping the economy going, including support, including your Heritage and Stabilization Fund, which only existed because of Kamala Persad-Bissessar pumping it up. Basdio Pandey created it, and Kamala Persad-Bissessar and her government pumped it up, that even Rowley and Imbert have to say that the only reason they have that there is because of 2010 to 2015. Imbert likes to say that the Heritage and Stabilization Fund is the same as it was in 2015. Well, that means you're flopped, because it's supposed to increase by billions per year. So if you are the same, it means you have spent it out and people are suffering. This is not funny. The incompetence knows no bounds. And when you see that Rowley, a heartless individual, is advised and listens to another heartless individual, when two stone hearts come together, this is the chaos and disaster that comes on a country. Christian Mute, the KFC man, is such a disgusting human being that in this pandemic and lockdown, he is the chairman of the recovery roadmap to recovery team of the PNM, of which Vasant Bharat is a member, and he is in charge of Prestige Holdings, and Prestige Holdings of KFC, after making billions and billions of dollars of profit in this country, could not for 2 months support their staff and their family. He gave them 2 pie and a Pepsi. He gave them $150 stipend per week, and then he took that away. This is the man who is charting Rowley's policy. This is the man who's advising Rowley and his government. This is the man, this is how he treats his employees while he purchases 3 pharmaceutical companies, an energy company, and he moving on up. But all his people, all his workers suffering, and he's in charge of us too. He is determining the way, the method, the development, the process, the program, the vaccination, the roadmap, the economy, the stipends, the wages, the CPEP. That Christian Mute is determining with his rock stone hard heart what happens to our people. And this is why what we are about to see, this is why this happened. This cannot happen by guess. A myriad of factors have to come together to project such devastation on a population, such stupidity, such arrogance, such hubris, such dotishness, to create a perfect storm of pain on a population from the eldest to the youngest. This could not come about just by mistake. Look at this carefully and understand that Rowley and the PNM are the greatest pandemic and disease to ever hit this Caribbean twin island republic. Whether you're in Mova, whether you're in Mariah, whether you're in Point Fortin, La Brea, or all in between, whether you're in Shargarama, Carenage, incompetence is incompetence, stupidity is stupidity, and feel the pain, feel it, watch it, run it.
Starting today, anyone over age 60 or under 60 with non-communicable diseases can walk into a COVID-19 vaccination center and get a shot.
First thing I must do this morning is apologize to the nation for what has happened this morning. But coming out of this apology, we must learn some lessons. And immediately this morning, we are going to institute the following measure to mitigate against this reoccurring from tomorrow. Surnames starting from A to E will get into our health centers.
Minister done any kind of due diligence to determine how many persons will fall under letters A to E?
All people to come out and you have no vaccines. The elderly with sticks standing up 5 o'clock in the morning, and you calling them again. Tomorrow the same thing will happen.
Society is judged by the way it treats its most vulnerable. With just over 37,000 Sinopharm vaccines remaining, more elderly persons were turned away from health centers on day 2 of the walk-in vaccination drive.
Why must we hide emotions? Why must we never break down and cry? All that I need is to cry. Oh yeah. Somebody please hear me cry. Oh yeah. All I can do is cry. Oh yeah.
really know what to do again and where to go anywhere again, right? I have a spine operation.
Many of the vaccine seekers were seen using walkers, canes and being assisted by younger relatives to get to vaccination sites.
They say that they check about 40 people and they let them go after the party.
Why don't I live?
decision. Minister cannot differ as he has done before. He must act now. Minister Diyal Singh must be replaced now. And if the Prime Minister cannot do the honorable thing, I call on the Minister of Health, show some national remorse. You must walk up with your resignation letter, walk up with your towel to shed all your tears, because now you really have something to cry about.
Well, if you are a praying people, if you are a praying family, over the next 11 days, pray together. Pray for our country. Pray for our citizens. Pray for all of us, because what has taken place in those videos, in that footage, as you've seen, over a 3-day period, based on all the science that I have read, we are in for a rough ride. We are in for a painful ride. We are in for torture. The Brazilian variant is unforgiving. The Indian variant is on our doorsteps. If you pray, pray now. Pray hard. Pray long. God bless. Be gone.
Politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, till we have this thing out to fix.
When I rose in this House and I called point of order, you immediately rolled your eyes at me. You did not know what I was going to say, which means that you made a judgment against me, presuming that you knew what I would say. Now, regardless, it is my right as a member of Parliament, my privilege to be able to stand in this place and to have my voice heard. And as the Speaker of this House, according to this Green Book that I hold in my hands, which is the document that directs this place, as the Speaker, it is your responsibility to gain the support and the goodwill of this place. When you fail to show respect and honor to each and every member on the floor of this chamber, you produce a lack of decorum, because chaos will ensue where there is no respect and where there is not mutual honor. So, Madam Speaker, the fact that you started by rolling your eyes at me and then proceeded to ignore me at every single moment I rose in this House to raise a point of order is absolutely inappropriate. And so, Madam Speaker, when I rise here right now, as I am, I rise as the Member of Parliament for Lethbridge, and I was duly elected by the people of Lethbridge to have their back right here in this place. I do not speak with my own voice, I speak with their voice. So, Madam Speaker, when you roll your eyes at me, you roll your eyes at more than 120,000 constituents who have elected me to be here on their behalf. And that, Madam Speaker, is incredibly disrespectful and a disregard for democracy. I invite you to consider those actions, and I invite you to take the next steps forward.
The honourable member. Let me be clear. Just as with the 80 million doses we previously announced, the United States is providing these 500,000 doses with no strings attached. Let me say it again, with no strings attached. Our vaccine donations don't include pressure for favors or potential concessions. We're doing this to save lives, to end this pandemic. That's it, period.
Secretary, good morning. As a member of the Red Till We Dead team, may I speak with the Prime Minister, please? Good morning, sir. What happened yesterday? What really happened yesterday? Because as far as I see, you jackass the scenes. That is called mass gatherings. And Terence is not doing a very good job of apologizing or being very specific about the things he wants us to do. So, I will kindly ask you to stop jackassing the scenes.
Number one in the world. Number one in the world. Number one in the world.
But we do have some recommendations. So it's not just to come here and shout. I want to make it very clear. I am very patriotic. We in the opposition, we are very patriotic. We are committed to the health and safety and the sustainability of the lives of the people of our country, just as I'm sure every member here is, madam. And suggestions, look, we have to open up the non-essential services. We have to get these workers back out. They need to get back to work. We need to open our borders. We cannot continue to lock out our citizens. Promises we will open it, but no dates, no times. It's like the vaccines. They're forever coming and can't reach. We need to pay the businessmen. We have to give them their VAT refunds. We should pay the VAT refunds. We should consider, Minister says he doesn't want to take off taxes, but I remember when we removed the VAT on food items, 7,000 food items, the VAT revenue did not fall by very much at all. And in fact, Minister had projected he would get, 12 billion more in VAT, and when you looked at the numbers, they were far less. That is another way you can help without impacting seriously on your revenue stream from the VAT things that come in. So my colleagues will go into details, madam. I've stayed out of the line items to prevent them from getting repetitive. They will go into details on the various line items. I want to make it clear, whilst these things may seem necessary and urgent at this time, they must be disbursed, the $3 billion, with transparency and accountability. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
If COVID had a face, it would look like the UNC.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, 48-4.
What is my crime? Thank you very much. You are a fair judge, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
We are now the Caribbean basket case, the capital of COVID in the Caribbean. On Monday last, Barbados welcomed its first cruise ship in over a year and a half.
Number one in the world. 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 Number one in